Edna Mode is the eccentric and charming costume designer from The Incredibles. But what actual real-life person is she inspired by? We'll explore that coming up.
Come in 1 hour, darling. I insist, okay? Okay, goodbye.
It's rare that we get to see the costume designer's perspective in any story, so it's a treat to see Edna's hilarious turn as The Incredibles' memorable scene stealer. Edna E. Mode is said to be named after E-Mode, a software Pixar used at the time the film was made, but you might not know that mode is also the French word for fashion. Known for her oft-repeated witticisms, the half-German, half-Japanese character is the creation of Pixar writer and director Brad Bird, who also voices the diminutive powerhouse. Brad Bird created Edna as an answer to the question about who creates the high-tech costumes for superheroes. With a skill set of James Bond's Q, Edna Mode uses her technological background to create a broad spectrum of costume requirements needed by the Incredibles family. And with the Incredibles 2 release less than a month to go, I thought it would be fun to see who Edna Mode might be inspired by, starting with the least likely.
Yes, words are useless. Gobble, 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 gobble. Too much of it, darling, too much.
Robert Evans. I know it seems unlikely, but the American film producer and former studio executive Robert Evans has been mentioned as a possible inspiration. Best known for his work on Rosemary's Baby, Love Story, The Godfather, and Chinatown, it's more his colorful personal life by the 7-times married scoundrel that has cemented him as a pop icon and living legend.
I've been in this movie or acted for 4 decades. And there's only one thing more challenging, complicated, and intriguing. And that's trying to figure out what's going on in a dame's head. I'll tell you this, pal. Any man who thinks he can read the mind of a woman is a man who knows nothing.
You can't! It's impossible! I'm far too busy, so ask me now before I again become sane.
Philip Johnson. While creator Brad Bird might be tight-lipped about Edna's origins, he has said, "I've heard like 15 different people she reminds people of." Edna's signature black frame round glasses look very similar to those of American architect Philip Johnson, who lived to the ripe old age of 98.
Well, I'm sure I don't know, darling. Luck favors the prepared.
Lotte Lenya. Lotte Lenya was an Austrian singer and actress, best remembered for her performances of the songs of her husband and legendary composer Kurt Weill. And where we might get a hint of Edna's slightly bellicose behavior is from Lenya's portrayal of the murderous and sadistic Rosa Klebb in the James Bond movie From Russia with Love.
I see you trained for the ballet.
But I grew an inch over the regulation height, and so...
And then you have had 3 lovers.
What is the purpose of such an intimate question?
You are not here to ask questions. You forget to whom you're speaking.
This is a hobo suit, darling. You can't be seen in this. I won't allow it.
Mary Quant. Mary Quant is a Welsh fashion designer and British fashion icon. Quant was certainly a trailblazer in 1960s youth fashion culture that included the miniskirt, hot pants, and colored and patterned tights. And while not inventing it per se, she popularized the miniskirt, naming it after her favorite car, the Mini.
I never look back, darling. It distracts from the now.
TALLULAH Bankhead. TALLULAH Brockman Bankhead was an American actress of Hollywood stage and screen. Bankhead was best known for her deep, resonant voice, full-bodied laughter, and wicked humor. And like Edna, she loved to call everyone darling in her mid-Atlantic style accent.
Tell me, why do you call everybody darling?
Now you know why, because I can't remember names. It all began when I was a very small child. Being brought up in a political family, you know, the first thing to learn is to remember people's faces and their names. Well, I couldn't. I think my father and grandfather knew everybody in Alabama by that first name. But I probably in those days said sugar or honey. But then when I got a bit older, I switched to darling, and I In my travels and experiences around, I've met so many people, I don't think it can hurt their feelings by just calling them darling if I don't remember their names. Does that please you?
Simple, elegant, yet bold.
You will die.
Coco Chanel. Coco Chanel was a French couturier and founder of House Chanel, and she's the only fashion designer listed on Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people of the 20th century. Chanel famously said, "Arrogance is in everything I do. It is my gestures, the harshness of my voice, in the glow of my gaze, in my sinewy, tormented face." While Chanel held private clients, Greta Garbo and Marlene Dietrich, she had a general dislike of Tinseltown, saying, "Hollywood is the capital of bad taste and it is vulgar." But despite this, she did produce some marvelous work on the silver screen, including costumes for Gloria Swanson and Ina Claire. Chanel was not without her own foibles, however, and she held deeply anti-Semitic beliefs, and during World War II was a German collaborator.
Supermodels. Ha! Nothing super about them. Spoiled, stupid little stick figures with poofy lips who think only about themselves.
Bette Midler. While you might think that there's no way that Edna might be inspired by the divine Miss M, hear me out. Brad Bird has stated that while Edna might be a tiny character, especially in comparison to the likes of Mr. Incredible, or even in her own home where anyone else would get lost in its vastness, Edna dominates the room when she gets into it. Brad Bird tells of years ago how he met Bette Midler and was surprised at how small she was. She stands just over 5 feet tall because, according to Brad, she absolutely dominates the screen.
Milan, darling, Milan.
Anna Wintour. Anna Wintour is a British-American journalist and editor. She has been editor-in-chief of Vogue since 1988. And besides being a potential inspiration for Edna Mode, Wintour was also inspiration for Miranda Priestley, the villain in both the book and movie The Devil Wears Prada. She is easily recognizable by her neatly coiffed page boy, a hairstyle that she's held for decades, and then those tinted glasses, which are actually corrective lenses since she suffers from deteriorating vision.
No kicks!
Linda Hunt. Linda Hunt is an American film, stage, and television actress. It's completely understandable why Edna fans would believe that she is inspired by Linda Hunt. In fact, before I learned that Brad Bird voiced Edna, I thought it was Hunt herself that was behind the character. Both have the same hair, glasses, and even the same nose. And of course, like Edna, Hunt is a person of short stature, standing just 4 feet 9 inches tall. But it's likely her portrayal of Regina Crumb in the box office stinker Pret-a-Porter that sealed the deal.
Megabox deal in the States. Well, it's about to come to fruition. You know I want you to be my right hand.
What are you talking about? You are Elastigirl! My God, pull yourself together!
Edith Head. Edith Head is Hollywood's best-known costume designer with over 500 design credits. She's earned 35 Oscar nominations, and she's won a record 8 Academy Awards. That makes her both the most honored costume designer and woman in Academy Award history to date.
Where the costume designer contributes most is in providing those values which make costumes right dramatically. Here the problems to be solved are often most difficult and elusive. And to create appropriate answers, the costume designer must work almost all together with intangibles, with ideas, judgment, intuition, feelings, and taste. In the mind of a designer, the creation of a gown starts with these abstract elements during the very first stages of film planning.
Edith Head was named Chief Costume Designer at Paramount Pictures in 1933, and she remained at Paramount until 1967 for a total of 43 years. Head famously said, "If it's a Paramount film, I probably designed it." The accomplished designer's signature black bob, round tinted glasses, and biting commentary, and also her short stature as she only stands at 5'1", make her the most likely inspiration for Edna E. Mode. Apparently, her tinted sunglasses, like the ones seen here, were actually blue lens glasses. Looking through a blue glass was a common trick of costumers in the days of black and white film to get a sense of how the color would photograph. She did wear clear lenses when the tinted lenses weren't required. Never once to mince her words, Edith Head said of her Samson and Delilah director, "I never thought I did good work for Cecil B. DeMille. I always had to do what the conceited old goat wanted, whether it was correct or not." Edith had designed the costumes for Bette Davis in All About Eve and aging starlet Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard. Head said, "A designer is only as good as the star who wears her clothes." Head could dress the tall to the small, the petite to the curvy, always keeping in mind your dresses should be tight enough to show you're a woman and loose enough to show you're a lady. Oddly, she said of Mae West, "I've seen Mae West without a stitch and she's all woman. No hermaphrodite could have bosoms, well, like two large melons." Edith had tremendous success working in collaboration with up-and-coming starlet Audrey Hepburn, winning Oscars for 2 of her pictures, Sabrina and Roman Holiday. Head was also nominated for an Oscar for Funny Face. She moved to Universal Studios at the behest of Alfred Hitchcock, designing costumes for some of the most notable pictures, including To Catch a Thief, starring Grace Kelly and Cary Grant, and Rear Window, starring Jimmy Stewart and Grace Kelly. Head said of costuming Grace Kelly, "I've dressed thousands of actors, actresses, and animals, but whenever I am asked which star is my personal favorite, I answer, Grace Kelly. She is a charming lady, a most gifted actress, and to me, a valued friend." Head also designed the iconic two-piece suit worn by Tippi Hedren for the Birds. Actress and inventor Hedy Lamarr was apparently a bit of a pill when filming Samson and Delilah, one of Head's award-winning films. Head stated, "I have yet to see one completely unspoiled star, except for the animals, like Lassie." Where Edith Head most likely resembles Edna Mode is in the dealing of fragile egos of Hollywood starlets. Her saying, "I don't usually get into battles, but dressing Kim Novak for her role in Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo put to the test all my training in psychology." Who do you think is Edna Mode? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, consider sharing it out. I post almost weekly videos on the analysis of costume, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And thank you so much for watching.